Coaching, yeah.
Hey everybody, let me make sure I'm on. Am I on? No, I'm not on. You don't have me on. Da-da-da, you don't have me. You have everybody else on?
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, okay. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
So it's my headphones. Hi everybody, welcome to 4 Deep Sports Talk here on the news station. 1320 AM WARA and online, all one word, 4deepsportstalk.com. We have a full house. Volunteer from Bishop Fee, Joe DeVerns. He will be in next week as he's away with his family on vacation. And that's Catherine Conley. She has the allergies kicking in, if you can hear her over there. Of course, Luce Cabral, Justin Ferrer, and we're happy to be joined by longtime high school football coach, now finally retiring, but we got some inside scoop. He'll fill us in. Of course, I'm referring to Cardinal Spellman head coach, former Cardinal Spellman head coach, Ron St. George. Thank you, sir.
You're more than welcome. Glad to be here.
All right, make sure his volume's good. All right.
Yeah, he's good.
Okay. So, Ron, I just wanted to start it off, and we did this. I told you in the out in the hall. We had the pleasure of having Dan Buron on, and people that might not know you, but I'm pretty sure they do. Just give a little history. If you could just give us a little history when you started, how, and from where we were at right now when you just retired from Cardinal Spellman.
Yeah, well, I started, I applied for a teaching job at East Bridgewater. I was a phys ed, physical education, and health teacher there, and I was an assistant football coach. I worked my way up in the ranks. I started there in 1980, and 1980 actually is when I took over the position of head football coach. And I was the head football coach at East Bridgewater until 2004 for 25 years. My tenure there was a very good tenure in terms of the people that I taught with, my colleagues, the kids. I had a great opportunity in town, got to know a lot of people, a lot of families, a lot of people, different people played for me. And in terms of being specific, Don, do you want me to speak about the football in terms of records and
yeah, that would be
like
pretty. That would be pretty fun to hear that.
Yeah, well, I came to East Bridgewater with the head football coach named Al Stonkus. To this day, he and I are best friends. But he was an East Bridgewater boy, and he was a great athlete, one of the greatest athletes to come out of this area. He went to BU when BU was the Boston College of Football in terms of national prominence. And he gave me the history of East Bridgewater football. His senior year in 1959, they tied Cohasset. An interesting note, Cohasset had Walt Sweeney, who played for the LA Rams for 15 years. He was all pro for 12 years. And they were co-champs. And that was they had never won a championship outright, East Bridgewater, and they were co-champs in 1959. So when anybody takes over a job, you've got specific goals, and my goals were to win championships, to provide a culture that the kids could be successful in, not only as athletes but as human beings and students. And so, my first year we went 4-6. My second year we went 3-7, and then in '82 and '83 we won the league championship. '85 and '86 we won the league championship. '90 we won the league championship, and it was the first Super Bowl we went to, where we won the state Division IV state championship there. The next year we won the league in '91, went back to the Super Bowl, lost to Fairhaven 30-27 when Dana Almeida was the coach there. The team that had the ball last won, and they had it last. In '93, we won the league again and went to the Super Bowl against Old Rochester. In '94, we won the league, went to the Super Bowl again with Pat Kingman, who was the head coach at Middleborough. We played North Andover. In '95, we won the league, went to the Super Bowl again, and we played Newburyport. From there, there was a reshuffling of the league. A Pilgrim Conference came into creation, and there was 3 leagues under the governed by a group of 4 people. According to your enrollment, you went up or down, and they created a new league called the Patriot League. And we were put into the Patriot League, myself and Rockland. We went into the Patriot League, and we were in with Duxbury and Hingham and
Marshfield and those guys.
Yeah.
No, Marshfield was Bay State, right? No, they would have been Patriot. That's right.
Yeah. But for us, we were by far the smallest school in the league. You know, I think the biggest enrollment we had the year I was there, in terms of total enrollment at this high school, was 600 kids.
Wow.
So my last 7-8 years at EB came in second every year except the last year. Came in second to Duxbury. We couldn't beat Duxbury. We'd lose to them by a touchdown each time, but we had some great teams there. I mean, I had 2 losses in '02. We lost to Duxbury, and we played BC High, East Bridgewater. I mean, they suspend more kids in one day than we had at EB. You know, we got beat, so we were 8-2. But for a small school as EB was, you know, we lost to our league champ Duxbury, who's obviously continued their dominance in terms of football, and you know, BC High was very good, and we lost to them by a touchdown. But so then you know, I'd been the head coach there 20-something years by then, and you know, and when I look back on it and reflect on it, you know, I had a great time at AB. I mean, my position in the community, the respect accorded me by every faction of the community, parents, media, kids in the school. I had a very good situation at AB, but there's always that yearning. I went to friends of mine who was a maxillofacial surgeon, invited us to a Yankee swap party. And he was a BC High grad, and he had all BC High grads there. They were all maxillofacial surgeons. And at that time, the BC High job was open. So, you know, I started to get a lot of them were saying, hey, why don't you consider applying? Because I wasn't really thinking of that. But in the back of my mind, I had that, you know, I needed I think I need another challenge. I think a challenge would motivate me more. So, make a long story short, I ended up applying for the job, and I think I was told by their officials that there was a total of 82 candidates and from New York State down, and I was fortunate enough to be offered the job. So I accepted that position, and I was there 2005, 2006, and 2007. One of my philosophies, or one of my beliefs, I wouldn't say it's a philosophy, is to go to a system that's been down. But the people that run the institution want a more quality program. So, you know, it's very difficult to go to a position that's been up.
Yeah.
Because you have nowhere to go but down.
True.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You need to maintain it. So at that time, BC High was down for a few years. I think they told me they were 12-21. And it was the last few years of Jimmy Carter, who who at BC High was an icon, and he'd been coaching for 40-something years. So I took the job. As I said before, it's a big job.
Yeah.
Big job in defining it as the amount of young men you have in your program. And it's the same as Xaverian, St. John's Prep, Danvers. You know, I had 250 kids in the program after cuts and 16 paid assistants. So that's it's quite a managerial job, just
Sure.
managing all that. And but anyway, we went 6-5. We started out 1-4. We had all away games because they were doing the fields over at BC High. So we were on the road the entire year, and we had an extremely difficult schedule. I mean, we opened with Brockton, who was, in every sense of the word, still Brockton in terms of the quality of the people playing in the program. I know they have fallen on some hard times recently, certainly not due to their coaches, but just, it doesn't matter where you're at. Your talent it's pretty difficult to maintain that talent level. In high school you don't recruit. Contrary to what a lot of people think Catholic schools do. You said you had Dan Buron on, right? And when I got the BC High job, Danny sent me a congratulations note and said, congratulations, keep your rear end out of Bridgewater.
Oh boy.
That's funny.
It wasn't rear end, but I'm being politically correct. So I went there, and we opened with Brockton, and then we had New Bedford? Yeah.
Thinking it might be in New Bedford?
No, it was BC High.
Okay.
Yeah,
I thought you were talking about the opponent.
yeah. Trying to think. Maybe it was New Bedford, and they were still pretty good. They had a good team that year. We won that game. We lost the Brockton game by a touchdown, and we played Marshfield, and Marshfield had a heck of a team, and they beat us. And then we played Everett, another easy opponent, and they beat us. And then we won, I believe, 5 of the next 4 or 5 games. But so we ended up 6-5. We ended up co-champs, though, because we had only lost to. We beat Xaverian. Who did we? We tied with St. John's Prep. Our next year we went 9-2. Unfortunately, we didn't win the league.
Yeah.
But we had a great year. In my last year at BC High, 2007, we went 11-0.
Yeah.
And we lost to an exceptional Everett team in the playoffs in 2007. But on a side note, I started 9 juniors on both sides of the ball.
Yeah.
So I had 9 juniors coming back both sides of the ball. Knowing that we would probably, barring injuries and just the bounce of the ball, that we would be pretty good. But at that time, my mother got sick as an only child, and I had to make a decision. I wasn't going to coach anymore. And so I resigned at BC High, and so then I got I met with, I'm trying to remember who contacted me about Cardinal Spellman. But anyway, I met with the longtime president there, very, very good woman, very knowledgeable woman, a very interesting lady, Sister Thomasine, and she made her pitch for me that they'd like to see me at Cardinal Spellman. I was flattered. I still had my mother I had to think about because I had to get her out of bed, feed her breakfast. So I couldn't get to Spellman at a certain time because she offered me a teaching job as well. But I couldn't take the teaching job because of my mom.
Yeah.
And so they had me supervise 2 lunch periods, which I could get there for lunches. And I was the head football coach, and they made me the strength coach. Even though they didn't have a weight room at that time.
That's unique.
Oh, the comical thing is we get the short buses. I would bus the kids. I started at 08 at Spellman, so I bused the kids into TGA and the Brockton, the Brockton, the area where all the businesses are now. Trying to come up with the word industrial park.
Yeah, industrial park.
Yeah, in the industrial park, and Spelman grad, he gave my kids a break. And, so we lifted there for the first 2 or 3 years. So when I went to Spelman, they had fallen on hard times.
Yeah.
I think that they went, if my memory serves me correctly, for the last 4 or 5 years, they were 4 wins, 40-something losses, a couple ties, I don't know. So my first year there, we worked it very hard, and when I say we, that includes the coaching staff that I had. I brought a number of my guys to BC High with me and a number of them to Spelman with me. Nobody does anything alone. To be successful in life, there's always people that are part of your success. So
Absolutely. I
yeah,
certainly agree. It's teamwork. It's teamwork all around.
takes teamwork. Look, I wouldn't even been here with if it wasn't for my wife. I'd probably still be unshaven and whatever. But anyhow, she's a terrific gal. I should mention her.
Yeah,
You know.
we'll save that for shout-outs at the end.
Yeah.
She'll be number one.
Well, at first, some wives are a little reluctant about coaching because the amount of hours,
Right.
especially football. There's so many hours. I look back at it now. I should have been a cross country coach.
You would have fell asleep out there. You kidding me?
Well, I used to tell George McCabe, long-time track coach at EB,
Yeah.
for years now, for over 40 years. I used to tell him, George, go home. I can coach your kids and my kids at the same time. So anyway, where was I?
An expression on his face.
Where was I?
We were finishing up with EB. We were in 08, but I just want to make sure. Are we ready for a break?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so, Ron, we'll come right back, and we want to continue
Yeah.
that. All right, we're going to step away. You're listening to 4 Deep Sports Talk here on the news station. 1320 AM WARA and online, all one word, 4deepsportstalk.com. We have the extreme privilege of having Ron St. George, former, you name it, he's done every level of high school you could think of, any division. We'll be back with him and more right after this.
You guys have players of the week?
No, we're working on that.
And then they'd have a banquet at the
Hey
end of the year.
everyone, welcome back to 4 Deep Sports Talk here at the news station, 1320 AM, WARA. This is Catherine Conley, aka KC, with the rest of the 4 Deep Sports Talk crew. We are currently talking with former Cardinal Spellman head coach Ron St. George. Don, you have other questions?
Oh, of course I do. As soon as I get my phones on, I don't hurt
Oh.
myself. Yeah.
Oh, you forgot to put headphones on.
All right, so Ron, we left it out. Now watch his levels when he goes up. So we left at Cardinal Spellman 08, and you started at 08. Was it 08 you started at Spellman?
08, correct.
And you were in the same situation, almost like BC High, where you were in the situation you wanted to be in, where you could start and build your program on the way you wanted it, and that's where we were left off at.
Thanks for refreshing me, Don.
You're welcome. I come in handy every now and then.
Oh, I'm sure if we spoke to your wife, that she would elaborate more and more on what effects you have on your family. But anyhow, so we started to see, and we trying to develop a culture was, first of all, trying to develop a culture where the kids that weren't playing other sports to work out and lift weights, to work on their change in direction, linear speed, change in direction, all that stuff that translates and improves no matter what your ability is. If you improve your speed and your explosiveness, then you're going to be a better athlete in that sport. So the kids were eager, so we were bussing them over, and I had about 15 kids, and in our first year we went 2-9. I will tell you that there were moments that I stood on the sideline and said, "Oh boy, this is not going to be easy." But the group of kids we had that year, they established the foundation for what we're trying to create there. Come to practice, work hard, and no matter what happens, happens. All right, be satisfied with your effort, but they were the building blocks. As I said, we lost 9 games, but they came every day and they worked hard every day, and the next class mirrored the same type of work ethic and behavior. So we went 2-9 my first year, 4-7 our second year. We played a lot of sophomores. Some of them weren't ready to play, but they had to play because of our lack of numbers in the upper grades as well. So those first 2 years served us well, because my third year we went 12-1.
I remember that year because you rolled into Coyle Cassidy and gave him a good beating. Because I lived in Taunton. I still live in Taunton. I went to see my old, school from the old town, because I grew up in Brockton.
Yeah.
And I said, just their body English alone was impressive. The way they was just put their gear on, went to work, did their business, got back on the bus and went home.
Yeah.
I remember that year.
Yeah, well, I had a very good group of kids. Most of them that had played for three years varsity. They were playing as sophomores, and like I said, some of them weren't ready physically or emotionally. I mean, it's like a lot of sports, but football's a tough game, man. You're wearing 20 to 25 pounds of equipment.
Yeah.
You deal with the heat, you deal with the cold, you deal with the coaches trying to motivate you. I mean, it's if you don't get kids to play up to their ability, not beyond it, just get them to play up what their ability is. It's not an easy thing, because most human beings cannot bring it out of themselves. They're not internally motivated. So you become that external motivator, and expression I like to use all the time is you got to find that button on that person's chest that's going to that you want to push to get the desired result that you want. So they just did a great job for 2-3 years, and then they were rewarded. I mean, we were a very good football team. We went 11-0, and then we played Hamilton won them in the tournament. What I'm hesitating a little bit, there's been so many tournament structures in the last 20 years, and I've been part of them. my first year going to the tournament at East Bridgewater was 6 divisions. We were Division 4, and we were undefeated, and we went. But that was an elite, that was an elitist tournament, as opposed to basketball and baseball, where if you won 50% of your games, you're in the tournament. You could go undefeated and not get in the tournament. In the
That's
old days.
crazy. Yeah, that's crazy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it happened all the time. BI went undefeated that year that we went undefeated, and they didn't get in. They were punished for their non-league games. The 2 people they played just didn't win enough games, so you didn't get any points.
To get in,
You know, you had your opponent points and your own value points that you got. That was the structure of that. In 1990 was the last year. Then they went to a number of other ways to get
different formats, yeah.
more football teams. Teams that go 8-2, 9-1. You know, when you were playing 10 league games, you didn't get into the tournament.
It's crazy. I still remember that. Lucy will tell you every time we do when the tournaments come around, we always do an update, let people know who won in the South. Yeah. And I would see so and so school, and I'm not going to say their names, 2-12 getting invited to a tournament, either whatever, basketball, whatever, just because they want to get someone in there to fill the bracket. And I'm like, that's absolutely insane. Mm-hmm. And I usually turn red in the face, and Lucy usually laughs at me a lot because I take.
And the Globe criticized football because you guys you're getting too many teams in now, and it's you get teams with losing records that are getting in. And,
right. Yep.
Where all these years, I mean, all these great football teams that had 1 loss or 2 losses, didn't play in the tournament.
No, didn't get invited.
Well, a good reflection of that was my last 7 years at East Bridgewater. We were in the Patriot League, all right? We got put down in there mostly because of our success.
Yep.
Needless to say, all the social league teams did not vote against having another, knowing that East Bridgewater and Rockland would be out.
Yeah.
If they voted against it.
Yeah.
No, they all voted for it. But I went 9-1 3 years, 8-2 2 years.
Nothing.
That's
crazy. Yeah, I think he's trying to get my dander up again.
I think nothing. So, in Spelman, it's been different. We got in the tournament starting out. Well, we went 12-1, and we played. I'm trying to think. We played Holliston, and they had a great team. We had a great team. Unfortunately, we lost our star running back, a young man named Blaze Branch, in the first 4 minutes of the game, and they ended up beating us. On the other hand, when you look at the structures of the divisions now, Holliston was in a higher division back then, so in terms of parity, in terms of enrollment, they were bigger than us. So the next year, in 2011, we went 12-1 again.
Yeah.
So we were 24-2, and we lost to a great Mashpee team, an exceptional Mashpee team. But nonetheless, going 2-9, 4-7, 12-1, 12-1,
right,
and winning the leagues.
So I have another question for you.
Sure.
All right. So this is only because it's from Tom Joyce from the Quincy Sun, and you kind of answered this question a little bit, just describing the different playoff format, how it's changed. His question was, what's the biggest difference you noticed between high school football nowadays to when you first started coaching? But I think you kind of mentioned that about the different schools you went to and just talking about the playoff structure alone. Is that pretty fair to say, or is something else that comes to mind?
That's fair to say. Obviously, there was, way back in the day, there was no football tournament, period.
Right.
You won your conference, you were done.
You win your conference, you were done.
Yeah, I remember that.
So it's, I think the major difference is that you ask a lot more of the kids than you did decades ago.
Yeah.
As an example, when I played back, when the dinosaurs roamed the earth, right?
Oh.
In the late 60s, I graduated high school in 67. There were no weight rooms. The high schools didn't have, there was hardly any fitness areas. They just weren't was in vogue then.
Yeah.
You know, and back in those days, everybody that was an athlete played 3 sports, which
Right.
is, I feel, the downside of what's going on today. Too many kids are trying to specialize in a sport,
And that's exactly right.
and they're not playing other sports in the sport that they're specializing in. You know, nobody wants to dampen a kid's dreams, but these kids aren't going to go to they're not going to play Division I football. They're not going to play in the NFL.
Right. Exactly right.
And but they're giving up playing other sports. So kids are specializing today.
Seems like the sophomore year, I noticed. Once they get to the sophomore year, right about then, the coach, the scout is, the college kids knocking on their door. We'd like to offer your son, this is what I've noticed.
AAU.
Yes,
AAU,
there you go.
right? That's the other one, right? That's baseball, more
You know,
baseball.
I don't know if well, it's not just football. You got AA.
I mean,
No,
baseball.
it's-
I mean, and
it's
basketball,
everywhere.
yeah.
Basketball. You know, I will tell you from my own experiences, my oldest daughter, Siobhan, and both my daughters were talented athletes, but Siobhan was very talented as a young kid, so I sent her to Mass Maritime basketball camp in the 7th grade. And from that point on, the next 4 years,
Yeah.
I had 5 or 6 AAU teams calling her every year, trying to get her to play. As I said, she was an exceptional athlete. She's a leading scorer in the history of Archbishop Williams in basketball. Boy
That's
or
impressive.
girl.
That's impressive.
Boy or girl, and she got a full ride to Stonehill College in basketball. You know, Stonehill girls were
Yep.
very, very good, and was either done in Bentley every year, and always nationally ranked as well. But so I mean, there's a lot more asked of the kids today, even if they play a sport. You know, coaches have now today. You want them in the weight room. You want them working on their speed and their agility. We have touch foot, not flag football now in the
Yeah,
summers.
6-on-6, yeah.
You know, 7-on-7.
Yeah, 7-on-7, sorry.
And, you know, and then kids are playing, you're getting kids, you know, especially at the smaller schools where you have to share athletes.
Yeah.
You know, they're playing 2 or 3 nights of summer league basketball. You know, they're trying to make summer league football, and it goes right into the season. So there's a lot more asked of the kids today. And honestly, a lot of them, if they stay with that sport,
Yeah.
they're making more of a commitment than athletes in the past, because athletes in the past didn't have all those choices,
Yeah, right.
all those options,
Yep.
you know. And as I said, when I played high school football, the best athletes in the school played 3 sports.
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to take our second break. I'm going to cut you off. I'm sorry. You all listen. Are we ready? All right. You okay?
Yeah, I'm good.
I think your nose fell on the floor. I'm only kidding. You are listening and watching 4 Deep Sports Talk here on the news station, 1320 AM WARA, and online, all one word, 4deepsportstalk.com. Again, Ron St. George from Cardinal Spellman, BC High, East Bridgewater. We have him here. We'll be back with him and more right after this.
He's a good kid in high school.
Okay, ready?
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to 4 Deep Sports Talk. We are going to continue talking with Ron St. George. And Ron, I would like to ask you, was it amazing to get the Vikings to 5 Super Bowls in a 6-year span?
Well, obviously, yeah, it was a very, very big accomplishment. But it just lit up the school. You know, I will say, football season starts the school year off, and it can set the tone for the year. But, not only football, but your other fall sports as well. But football, where gets the biggest crowds, and it sets the tone for the whole school year. And when we went to 5 in 6 years, I mean, it was just. It was just electric and dynamic in the community and in the school. One of the interesting things that you'll find out about high school sports or sports in general, if I was a resident in East Bridgewater and I saw a kid walking the street and I didn't know how the team did, I might stop and ask him, "Hey, how did the Vikings do last night?" And most people answer, we won. So people aren't even involved in the program. They don't say they won.
Yeah.
We won.
That's cool.
Everybody's invested
Mm-hmm.
in that. Just like
Teamwork.
it is with the New England Patriots.
Yep.
We say we, because it is we. Let me preface my remarks also by saying nobody gets to the top of the mountain without good athletes. You've got to have athletes. There's not a coach alive at any level. You've got to have a certain degree of talent. Then you have to have that culture, and then the kids have got to be hungry. So with us, in 1990, we won. I didn't have to say a word to the juniors and sophomores.
They just knew what to do.
And they wanted to get when you get to the top of the mountain. The valley is never good enough,
Mm-hmm.
or halfway up the mountains, never good enough again. So, I mean, it was like, we're going to get there. And we did it, even losing 8 starters on both sides of the ball. But that second year, we had Tyler McDonald back, who was, bar any division, as good a back as you were going to find. We rode his coattails. Everybody played into their role that they needed to do and did their role, and they did it well, and we went right back to the ball. In '92, things didn't go as well for us, but we had a good group of kids. They had to deal with the pressure of getting back. It would have been three-peat, In '94, we won the league, and we went back. As I said, I'll give Pat Kingman a plug down here at Middleborough. Pat was the captain of that team. Although he was injured and he didn't get to play in the game. He got hurt early in the year. And then in '94, 5, we won the league again. 93 we went back and won the league, went to the bowl. In '95 we won the league and went to the bowl. So it was an exciting time for anybody involved in the program. Myself, my assistants, people in the school. It almost got to a point too that there was a tinge of jealousy, because the other athletes were it's like, oh, only the football players are getting
Getting attention.
Yeah, getting all the attention. There was a tinge of jealousy, but nevertheless, I taught phys ed there, so I had, when I first went to PE, there was 2 male, 2 women, and a PE director. In the '90s, I was the only phys ed teacher left, plus no PE director. So I had every kid in the school in phys ed, so everybody knew me, men, women, everybody, and I had a great relationship with the entire student body. But yeah, that was a very exciting period, very, very, I don't think I'm trying to remember anybody that went to that many Super Bowls in that short period of time.
Not many.
Not many.
Not many I can remember.
But I will tell you, what would have been even greater was if we didn't get put into the Patriot League, we'd have gone to another 6. No ands, ifs, or buts about it.
Another 6 Super Bowls.
Oh, yeah, because we were 9-1 3 years.
Mm.
We lost to Duxbury. If we were back in the South Shore League, not that it's easy, it was a good league, but, we were better than most of those teams. And then we went 8-2. We were 9-1, 8-2. Like I said, we lost to BC High and Duxbury, right? And my last year we went 6-4. So I feel I have a little bit of, when I look at my former players in those times, that they didn't get the recognition that they possibly would have had if they were in a league where the enrollment there was parity in enrollment. But we'd have gone to another, I think, 6 out of 7. I don't think there's any question about that. Because we played the champ non-league from the South Shore League those years and beat them. But we didn't. So anyway, we're very proud as a group. As the years go by, they're even more and more proud. We started a Hall of Fame, not to get off on another tangent, but we've had 1 year of inductions. I'm on the committee. And our 1990 state championship team is being inducted into the Hall of Fame.
Wow.
Several members from the team. So from my perspective, I haven't seen a lot of those guys since 1990. And
Wow.
it'll be nice seeing them. And I think I think a number of them will be happy to see us. Maybe not all of them, but one never knows.
As long as it's a good portion of them.
Well, you know what? Hey, maturity goes a long way. When
Yeah.
you think, you're just getting back to your own parents. When you got liberal parents who never say no, and you got parents who say no, it's called tough love.
Mhm.
Right? And then when you get older, you understand and you appreciate. Hey, my parents did this because they needed it.
Mhm.
Football's a tough game. Any sport's a tough game because very few people can get it out of themselves. And you try to you're that external motivator.
Mhm.
And then you have to coach. People have asked me, what do you attribute most of your success to? Besides talent, good kids, good culture, is keeping them eligible and good school citizens after football season. Because, first of all, you owe it to them as a role model. And if kids have bad intangibles, they're going to bring them to your team.
Mhm.
And it's united you stand, it's divided you fall. So it was during those other months where I'd have teachers calling me and saying, Lucy's not behaving very well in my class. He just told me that he was going to flatten all my tires.
Oh, my God.
And you think you can talk to him, Ron? Because they would come to me prior to sending him to the principal. Right? I said, sure, send him down, and I'll give him a little attitude adjustment. But I mean, but it was every day. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Every day. Boys are rascals, a lot of them. And
All right, so with that note, we're going to take our third break. We're ready to go?
Yep.
All right, you're listening to 4 Deep Sports Talk here in the news station. I apologize. If you want to call in and yell at Ron, we're going to hang up on you. No, well, we'll see what we have to say first. But anyway, if you want to call and say hi to Ron St. George at 508-222-1320. Again, we have Ron St. George, former head football coach, BC High, East Bridgewater, and Cardinal Spellman. We'll be back with more and him as we finish up this hour. We'll be right back.
it's interesting.
Welcome back. You are listening to 4 Deep Sports Talk. There we go. She has me way too high. I gotta turn down the headset here. I'm surprised I no wonder she didn't have the headset on. My ears almost blew off my head. And those are some big ears. All right, everybody, welcome back and call in 508-222-1320. We have Ron St. George, former head coach at BC High, Cardinal Spellman, and EB. Again, 508-222-1320. And then comes Catherine Conley, a.k.a. KC. Catherine, you did a great job. Except I have no idea how you could listen to yourself on this headset. The phones were coming off my head as I was looking at Coach St. George over here. All right, so you have another question for Coach, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
I got a good one. So can you humor us for a moment and tell us what was either the most funniest or unexpected thing that happened during your coaching career?
Oh, Lord. I've had a number of funny things that happened during my career, but one that just popped in my head without delaying this whole thing is that we were playing Duxbury, and the weather was questionable whether we were going to play or not. They were predicting rain was coming in. But by the time that we had to make a decision, there was no rain. So we called Duxbury and said, bring them over. So we're playing at East Bridgewater. Now, my wife, as I mentioned to you before, she's been to every game I've ever coached. And I've been a head coach for 42 years. And prior to that, I was an assistant for 8 years. So she came to every game. And when the game started, it was literally a downpour. And it wasn't for a short period of time. And nobody was prepared. People at the game, the way we would dress as coaches, and my wife, who's normally very cautious, seldomly learns anything, all right, from trial and error, didn't have any rain gear. Well, she ran up inside into the locker room, into my office, and took some rain gear. Turned out to be one of my assistant coaches. Because when we got in at halftime, he's looking for his rain jacket. I mean, he's an LL Bean guy. So you got everything in the world. And, excuse me, he had no rain gear. And it was still, it was coming down. It was like sheets of water. And he had to go back out and endure that for the entire second half. And then we found out at the end of the game, my wife came up, she had all his rain gear. She went up into the school and took all the rain gear.
Can't blame her. I wouldn't want to get wet either. Watch the game.
Oh, man.
That's too funny.
That's great.
Don't we all?
Right. That's too funny. All right, young lady, what do you get for him?
Yeah, what would you say was your most memorable moment of your coaching career? Like you mentioned, like winning those 6 Super Bowl titles.
Well, we didn't win all of them, We went to the Super Bowl. Probably, I've been so blessed as a human being on this earth, and in so many ways, and right into my coaching career. I think 1990 when we won the first Super Bowl, because I was a driven man. I had set goals for myself, like everybody does, that, I wanted to win league championships, and I was going to take this town to a Super Bowl, and we were going to win a state championship. And for 10 years, we had won league titles prior to that, but for 10 years, we didn't get to the bowl, but we got to the bowl in 90. And we played the game at BU. It was broadcast by Gerard Phelan, did the color.
Oh, nice.
And Tom, I'm trying to remember. It was on TV.
Okay.
But anyhow, and at the end of the game, when I think we had almost 3/4 of the population of East Bridgewater in the stands, obviously there was a lot of euphoria, and the press was there, and I was being interviewed by
Probably all the major networks around
All of
here.
it. Bob
Yeah.
Ryan, is it? He's
Bob
still-
Lobel.
Who?
Bob Lobel.
No, it wasn't Lobel. It was he's there now. Irish guy, Ryan.
You're gonna make me
Bob
think about it.
Ryan.
Oh, that sounds familiar. Give me a second. I gotta think about it because now that the guys are listening, they're gonna correct me. Or at least correct
He
us.
still writes for the Globe.
Oh, it's not Dan Shaughnessy, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
Dan
was
Shaughnessy.
Shaughnessy, I'm
Yeah,
sorry,
That's
right.
all right.
But he did a piece on us because he did several pieces live on TV because we had a nose tackle that was 150 pounds. And, but I remember standing there and saying, is this it? You know, I thought it was going to be greater than it actually was. And don't take that as I wasn't excited and still proud of that accomplishment. But I just thought it was going to be greater than it actually was. It turned out to just be another football game. It was another football game that we won. And it was then I learned why I really coach. The reason that I coach is not as much for the wins and the losses and the championships and the Super Bowl appearances, but it's the people. It's the journey. The people you coach with. You know, I've had a lot of people coach with me, and I've had so many outstanding young men. You know, I've got guys that I coach now that are only 4 years younger than me. You know, so, you know, that's when I found out why I really coach. I mean, I love the challenge. I knew I couldn't play after I played college football. I knew I wasn't going to the NFL. I knew what I wanted to do. Set into my yearbook, wants to be a football coach. When I graduated, I knew what I wanted to do. I wanted to stay involved in the game, but I didn't realize how much of a reward coaching truly is. And I think Dom can expound on that.
Absolutely,
With his coaching, you know. And when I get called coach by guys that are 10 years younger than me, you know, they still call me coach. I mean, it's, what is it now? How's the old saying go? Every man is a mister, but not every mister is a coach.
That's true. That is
You
well
know?
said, yeah. Ron, I wanted to thank you for taking the time. We're actually finishing up this hour, but I know we played phone tag. Thank you for adjusting your schedule. I know I called you last minute, but we all appreciate, you know, you coming down here and giving us some insight on your coaching career.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun. And maybe, you know, please keep in touch, and you got something else to come up, let us know. We'd like to break the news first. I mean, we're such a small market, you know, what we do here, which you already know. But with that being said, we're going to set up to do the sports flash in about 2 seconds. Just waiting for as the sports master gets ready to tell us what's going on. And let me make sure I got the music queued up for him right here. And here is the sports master.
Okay, everybody, here's some updates with some youth baseball around southeastern Massachusetts. Cal Ripken 10-year-old baseball tournament started last night. The host team, Fall River, beat the visiting Vermont team 17-1, so they move on. They will play at Rhode Island at 7 p.m. tonight. Other games going on today are Maplewood Park in Fall River, Massachusetts. Eastern Massachusetts state champion Milton plays New Hampshire right now. It's tied 1-1 going into extra innings. Also later, Connecticut plays Western Massachusetts state champion Middleborough at 1 p.m. today. Maine plays New Canaan, Connecticut at 4 p.m. today and at 7 p.m. 12 and under 57 All Ripken baseball tournament, which is being played in Raynham, Massachusetts. Right now, Connecticut is to play New Hampshire. No score in the fifth. They started at 10 a.m. Rhode Island plays at 12:30. And finishing up the day in Raynham, the remaining games are at 3 p.m. and 5:30. At 5:30, the host team Raynham will play the Massachusetts state champion.
And we have one update before we step away. Dover, New Hampshire beat Milton, Mass in the 10U 4-1, so they move on in the winners bracket. And of course, the state champion Milton, they move in the losers bracket. For the man, Justin Ferrer, the Sportsmaster, Catherine Conlon, a.k.a. KC, Luce Cabral. Again, we'd like to thank Ron St. George for coming on today. We will catch you next time. Everyone have a fantastic weekend.